powerful athleticism, deadly attacks, and years of dedication. Chinese Kung Fu encompasses some of the most profound fighting styles in the world. In the first video in this series, we looked at 5 great Kung Fu masters from Chinese history, including the legendary folk hero Wang Feiheng, the founder of Bagua Palm, Dong Haichuan, and many more. If you want to check out part 1, I'll put it on the end screen of this video. But now, for your enjoyment, we have 5 more great Kung Fu masters from Chinese history. Number 1. Li Shuen. Li Shuen was born in 1864 in Tangzhou, Hebei province. This area is a hotspot for Chinese martial arts and is still home to hundreds of martial arts schools. Li mastered the art of Baji Quan, or 8 extremities boxing, and became highly proficient. The full name of this art is Kaimen Baji Quan, or Opening the Gate 8 extremities boxing. Opening the gate refers to breaking through the enemy's defense, and the 8 extremities refer to the fist, forearm, elbow, shoulder, foot, knee, hip, and thigh. Baji Quan is known for its elbow and shoulder strikes, exerting explosive power at short range. And you can see that in this scene in the movie The Grand Master, where a character uses Baji Quan to fight off a group of attackers. Li was known for his incredible spear technique and earned the nickname Shen Qiang Li, or God Spear Li. There are stories about him shooting out his spear to kill a fly resting on a glass window without damaging the glass. He was also challenged by Liu Dequan, a Bagua and spear master from Beijing, and won the bout, accepting Liu as a student. He was also challenged by another master and didn't want to injure him even after the man lost, and then requested a second and then a third bout. On their third round, Li told the man to protect his left eye, and he won the fight by tapping the man's left eye with the tip of his spear. The man didn't request another round. In 1895, Li Shuen accepted the invitation of General Yuan Shikai and became a martial arts instructor to the military. At that time, Yuan had hired several Japanese martial arts masters to train his troops. These masters quickly challenged Li, and he defeated all of them in fights to the death. He then went on to train the elite troops of the army. One of his students became bodyguard to Puyi, the last emperor of China, and another student became instructor to the Republican leader Chiang Kai-shek's bodyguards. This style has now come to be referred to as bodyguard style due to its use by personal guards and elite forces. When the nationalists fled the mainland to Taiwan, many of the Baji masters went with them, so the style has a foothold in Taiwan as well as mainland China. Li Shuen died in 1934 while drinking a cup of tea, leading to some accusations he was poisoned by angry relatives of challengers that he killed. But he remains the most important practitioner of the style in history, who led to its popularization during the late Qing dynasty and early Republican period. Number 2, Yin Wing Chun. Now, Yin Wing Chun, or to use the Mandarin pronunciation of her name, Yan Yong Chun, is the legendary founder of the Wing Chun style of Kung Fu. She learned from the Buddhist nun Wu Mei, who was one of the 5 elders, 5 masters who survived the supposed destruction of the Southern Shaolin Temple by the Qing dynasty government. More on the Southern Shaolin Temple later. When a local ruffian had tried to force her to marry him, Wing Chun used the style to fight him off. Some versions of the story even say that Wu Mei taught Wing Chun a simple set of kung fu forms for the specific purpose of mastering a style quickly so she could fight off the man trying to take her hand in marriage.
Are you married?
Are you joking?
I thought not. I mean to say, what man could control you?
The style comes from Foshan in southern China and is a typical southern style that focuses on close-range fighting and doesn't feature any high kicks or wide stances. It uses the famous wooden dummy in its training, as well as the method of sticky hands, where practitioners of the art focus on sticking to an opponent's wrist and feeling what they're going to do in order to react to them faster rather than relying on sight alone. Wing Chun's only student was her later husband, one she was willing to marry, Leung Bok Chao, and the lineage was passed down from there, with the most famous practitioners in the 20th century being Ip Man and his student, Bruce Lee. Yes, the Bruce Lee. And yeah, that's not really Wing Chun anymore. He developed his own style at that point. In the Ip Man movies starring Donnie Yen, you get a sense of the effectiveness of the style in tight spaces, such as this elevator fight scene, as well as the contrast between Wing Chun and the Northern Long Fist styles in this scene. Wing Chun is compact and practical versus the overly flashy and acrobatic moves of the Northern style. However, this style attracted criticism when Chinese MMA fighter Xu Xiaodong defeated Wing Chun practitioner Ding Hao in an organized match in China. Some say it draws the attention to the limitations of a style that was created as a simple style to master quickly so that Wing Chun could defeat the local ruffian who wanted to marry her. But the skill level of the practitioners also plays a role, so it may not be as clear-cut as that. No matter what, Wing Chun remains a popular style of Kung Fu and one of the most iconic styles displayed in movies, and Yin Wing Chun was the one who started it all. Alright, let's move on. But before we do, when I'm writing scripts for these videos and trying to get inspired, I often drink High Mountain Oolong tea or Gaoshan Oolong Cha. It's my personal favorite tea, and I currently have a great deal on a high mountain tea from Alishan, the premier tea growing region in Taiwan. These tea leaves are grown at over 3,000 feet or 1,000 meters above sea level. They're free of pesticides and picked by hand. Now, I personally drink this tea, and I want to share it with you guys. Right now, you can get a reduced price and free shipping worldwide when you order through my link below. So if you want to support the channel and experience something that is a quintessential part of authentic Asian culture, do check it out in the first link below. Number 3, Bai Mei. So Bai Mei or Bak Mei in Cantonese means white eyebrow. Yeah, I have no idea why it was called that. But anyway, he was another one of the 5 elders, 5 masters who survived the destruction of the supposed southern Shaolin temple in Fujian province by the Qing dynasty government. But the history around the southern Shaolin temple is kind of murky. It's not really clear whether it was a real branch of the Shaolin temple, where exactly it was, or if it was destroyed at all. So nothing is really clear about it. But the story of the burning of the southern Shaolin temple is a famous story in the traditions of many southern Chinese martial arts. So Bai Mei was one of the 5 elders that escaped the temple. He was given the name Bai Mei White Eyebrow because he didn't want to use his real name anymore, fearing attacks against his family or his students by Qing forces. His style was White Eyebrow Kung Fu. Bai Mei has been a famous character in many Kung Fu movies, including Executioners from Shaolin, and Clan of the White Lotus, where he was played by Lo Lei alongside Gordon Liu. And of course, Gordon Liu returned to play his version of Bai Mei, or they called him Pai Mei, in the movie Kill Bill. Number 4, Chan Hyung. Now, Chan Hyung, or in Mandarin it's Chen Heng, was born in 1806 in Guangdong province in southern China. As he was growing up, he learned with 3 different masters of 3 different styles of Kung Fu. The Fojia or Foot Ga in Cantonese, then Li Jia or Li Ga in Cantonese, and finally Cai Jia or Choi Ga. His final teacher who taught him the Choi Ga style was the Buddhist monk Choi Fuk, who Chan Heng had managed to locate in the mountains. Originally, this monk only agreed to teach him Buddhism, but after seeing Chan Hyung practice Kung Fu every morning, Choi challenged him to kick a large rock. Chan kicked it about 12 feet, and then the monk put his own foot under the rock and kicked it straight up into the air. Chan begged him to teach him, and this time, the monk agreed. He studied with the monk for 9 years, and when he left at 28 years old and returned to society, the monk gave him a poem to see him on his way. 龙虎风云会，徒儿好自卫，重光少林术，世代无相宜. The dragon and tiger meet amidst wind and rain. My disciple, take care of yourself in the future. Let the arts of Shaolin shine again. Don't let them be lost for future generations. When Chan created his own style of Kung Fu, he used the names of his three master styles, Cai, Li, and Fo, or Choi, Lei, and Foot in Cantonese, to create Choi Lei Foot Kung Fu. It is a style that combines teachings for both northern and southern styles. There's an interesting quote from Bruce Lee about this style. Choi Lei Foot is the most effective system I have seen for fighting more than one person. It is one of the most difficult styles to attack and defend against. Choi Lei Foot is the only style of Kung Fu that traveled to Thailand to fight the Thai boxers and hadn't lost. Chan Hyung died in 1875, but the Choi Lei Foot style he created remains popular to this day. And now for our final great Kung Fu master from Chinese history. Number 5. Sun Lutang. Sun Lutang was born in Hebei province in 1860. As a teenager, he studied Xingyi Quan with the martial scholar Li Kuiyuan, but eventually his skills surpassed Li's, and Li recommended him go to his master, who was called Guo Yunshen. Guo saw how thin Sun was and didn't think of him as a good prospect, but he was recommended by his own student, so he agreed to teach him. On the second day of training, he told Sun to prepare a horse. They were to go to the next village. It was just one horse for his master, and he was expected to run alongside. As the horse started to gallop, Sun jumped into the air and ended up on the horse's back behind Guo, but without him noticing. After a while, Guo looked back and Sun jumped off, ending up behind the horse again. Upon seeing Sun's skill, Guo agreed to teach him, but said to Sun that if he wanted to really learn it well, he would have to be by his master's side at all times. Sun agreed. He trained with Guo for 8 years, mastering Xingyi Quan. Then he moved on to learn Ba Gua Zhang, or the 8 trigrams palm, with a friend of Guo called Chen Tinghua, one of the original disciples of Dong Haichuan, the creator of Ba Gua Zhang, who we covered in the first half of this series. After mastering Ba Gua, Sun moved on to learn the Wu-style Tai Chi from Hao Weizhen and mastered that too, completing his study of China's 3 internal martial arts styles of Xingyi Quan, Ba Gua Zhang, and Tai Ji Quan, as well as the I Ching, or Book of Changes. He also published a load of books on Chinese martial arts and created his own form of Tai Chi, the Sun style. In 1907, Sun Lutang was supposedly challenged by a Russian strongman named Bedlov. He reluctantly accepted the match and knocked the Russian off the platform with a light touch. But Sun Lutang's vision for the martial arts was not one of personal glory, but to use martial arts to strengthen the country and its people. And in his later years, he taught Tai Chi at the Beijing Physical Education Research Institute from 1914 to 1928. Most of his peers viewed him as the best martial artist for 300 years, although this is debatable since there were many other great masters around. A story from his granddaughter displays how extensive his knowledge was. He picked 3 students and taught one Xingyi Quan, the other Ba Gua Zhang, and the third Tai Ji Quan, and said to them that you 3 between you now possess the complete knowledge that I have. Alright guys, that is the video for today. Don't forget to get yourself some Taiwanese high mountain oolong tea with the first link in the description section below. Also, my co-host Jared is currently on tour with Shuen Performing Arts, the world's premier Chinese classical dance company. If you want to see Shuen this year, or just want to find out more, do click the second link in the description section below to watch the trailer and check out tour dates. And if you do buy a ticket, your booking fee will be waived with our link. Please subscribe for more fascinating stories from Chinese history. Leave your requests in the comments below. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.